So anyway, I digress. Um, what's left of my life is going to be devoted to making sure that Michaela has a global legacy. That her life was taken by these monsters at BlackRock and Disney and Lucasfilm and her piece of shit, elitist, abusive husband who video after video after video. I'm like, did that motherfucker really say that shit? He's sitting there basically degrading the animals for being animals. He's a rescue and a sanctuary. Me and the raccoons got into it. I was out there in the middle of the woods. I had to establish dominance because I didn't have a structure. I didn't have enclosures to put them in. I was in there. I was living in their shit. They weren't living in my shit. They were still wild. So I had to establish dominance and try to, if they had if I didn't establish dominance, they could have, even playfully, they like to bite and nibble, just playfully, or go boo boo to mark their territory. I had to, since their scat could have roundworms in it, and I didn't have access to. Of course, I guess I could have just taken the dewormer myself, but how the fuck would I even known if I got exposed? Which, that's why I didn't worry about too much, because if I remember correctly, the University of Missouri actually did a study and said as long as you're not eating raccoon poop, you shouldn't have anything to worry about. But a lot of it was microscopic. You could breathe it. You could, they were climbing that's why I wrapped my tent and my shelter in chicken wire so they couldn't get in. So I had to let them know that even though this was their woodland, my little space was my little space. And they knew better. You could see on their face they knew what they were doing they weren't supposed to do. That was actually pretty cute to see Thunder. She would watch and wait to make sure I was distracted, and then she would run in and grab my goddamn bagels and run out, trying to go completely undetected so I wouldn't know who did it. But they're as smart as 3-year-old kids. That's different. What he's doing, and he's a fucking admin. When he described his interactions with Lucasfilm and Disney, he basically admitted he negotiated that whole contract where they provided animal sounds for some animated film. Okay, you're an administrator out of a wildlife sanctuary that she started. She made as big as it is, to the point that they had 2 million plus subscribers, plus raised, I don't know, $1 million plus to buy that fur farm. And this motherfucker's degrading all of the animals for nothing other than just, they weren't misbehaving. They weren't being facetious and mischievous. Oh, it already stinks in here. That's the way it is. Even Dr. Morocco, when she's talking about the beaver, she's like, they're stinky. And then she explains why they're stinky. They have these oils and musks, and that's how they communicate with each other. When wild animals are pooping and peeing, that's them leaving a text message to lower species, upper species, the same species. I'm here. This is my territory. Take your ass somewhere else. It lets raccoons and rabbits and rats and squirrels know, hey, there's a predator in the area. That's how they fucking communicate. And you're sitting there, oh, it's disgusting. You're a fucking animal sanctuary, motherfucker. Plus, your wife is passionate. These are her fucking kids. That's like if their daughter Freya had an accident as a baby, you're going to get in her face and call her disgusting? And don't tell me. I mean, it's woke, passive aggressive domestic violence. He's a pussy ass bitch, just like Chad. He's not going to fucking slap on her. That's too obvious. He fell in love with what he saw in the videos. But the reality was, you have this beautiful redhead all made up in nice clothes, looking like $1,000,000, but in reality, she stinks like fox pee, which is apparently so bad that even when they went to the vet had them use the back door, because if they came in the front door, the stench was so bad, it would run the other patients, animal owners out. I don't remember, but that's the reality. That's her and she didn't care, because her passion for caring for them, that was her passion. His passion is Porsche's. His passion is maybe getting to build shit for Lucasfilms, or going to work at Disney, BlackRock, who cock-blocked them from getting the property for after they raised the money for the fur farm. That's where his passion was. And she understood this in her soul and her spirit, probably didn't know how to communicate it, or she did and she just didn't want to, because she was a complete pacifist. That was her choice. And he exploited that. And I want his ass exposed. I want her family to get justice. Little Freya, I know you have to think about the kid. Freya's strong as can be. Michaela has a way of making her presence known and soothing you, so I don't know how to explain it. But if you watch some of the videos of his crisis acting, Freya's looking at him like, like the kid in that little meme where you can, I remember on Facebook you could go to GIFs and you could put a GIF in a comment, and it's that little blonde girl, like, that wasn't the face she made. I don't know how to make it. I'm actually going to have to find it somewhere. But she was looking at him like he was a total asshole. Thank God she had a good connection with her child. I don't think Freya's going to have any problem adjusting to watching. Do it while she's young, for Christ's sake. If you put this trial on blast when she's a fucking teenager, it could be different. Right now, she's still like a toddler. As long as it's done before she's like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, past her formative, she's still in her formative years. I don't want that sociopath teaching her to be an elitist piece of shit. And she's sitting there listening the child is sitting there listening to him shame the very thing that her mother was passionate about. And then she became passionate about it. And so her legacy should be it should be no different than Virginia Giuffre. I don't think there's any status in victimhood. Oh, well, these victims are more important because they actually got abused by these wealthy people. We're all abused by these wealthy people. Only most of us are starving to death while we're getting abused and raped and screwed and killed and poisoned, along with our animals. I'm not saying that the victims think like that. I don't. I'm just pointing out that no one victim's any better than the other. The real victims are dead. And dead is dead. I don't give a shit. I mean, it's the same circumstances. I believe, based on that 60 Minutes Australia documentary, that they had Virginia's husband finish her off just like they did Ethan, had finished Michaela off. But Michaela's all my energy for the rest of my life is going to make sure that there are animal rescues and sanctuaries and taxpayer funded, because the elites aren't going to be robbing all of our treasuries globally. There's going to be plenty of money for there to be outposts to tend to wildlife to prevent them from ever needing to go to rehabs or sanctuaries. And maybe even spay and neuter programs when a certain species is I mean, look at what's going on in Toronto with the raccoons. You think they wouldn't benefit from a spay and neuter program? If you do it with cats and dogs, that colonies, why not raccoons? That really could benefit as a species, because it would make them less likely. They could get dewormed on a regular basis. They could get actually vaccinated. We could eradicate rabies, eradicate roundworms, and those are the only two zoological diseases I'm aware of that are, you know, famous for crossover. I'm sure there's others, but so that's what I'm going to do with my platform. It isn't going to be about me. It isn't going to be about, oh, look at these heroic things I did. I lost Michaela. That erases any bragging rights I would ever have. You saw me do a